Hey guys, really quick before my video begins, I'd just like to encourage you to open the description and check out all my socials below, as well as to subscribe to my YouTube and enjoy the video. Today, I think since the response of the last video for the I Am Scythe, today we're gonna do I Am Orb. So this video is actually kind of easy to make because we can actually do just the 4 orb characters that are in the game, because that's all there is. You know, it makes it simple. I don't have to really choose and like decide, oh, I'm not gonna do like Volkov like I didn't do in the last video, or like not doing Nyx. I think those are the only 2 I ended up leaving out. But yeah, so we're gonna go backwards, starting with Petra, and we're gonna end with Dusk. So if there was one character in particular you were wanting to see me talk about, then I guess you can kind of skip ahead knowing that. But Petra is not only a character I was initially thinking I was wanting to play because I just think the gauntlets are so good, it's also a character that if you were watching Steel Series, you saw Cody Travis actually pull this out in 2v2s. And you also probably saw Boomy play it in 1s as well. Petra is just an absolute freak. You don't really even play Petra for the SIGs on Orb, although I think the SIGs on Orb might be a little underrated. I don't think they're like absolutely insane, obviously, but I don't think they're like bad by any means either. You don't really play Petra for the Orb itself. It's more for the fact that you have just an absolute insane set of signatures on gauntlets across the board. I would personally say the best SIGs in the game for gauntlets, especially the side SIG and end SIG. And then you do have other solid SIGs on Orb. I think side SIG is pretty good. End SIG as well. They both hit very hard. And then D SIG's probably the worst SIG on the kit, but that's not saying much given the caliber of the kit overall. However, the big benefit of this character, yes, she does have both Orb and gauntlets. However, with this being said, she also has 8 force or 8 strength, which makes her really, really easy to kill with. And I think is another huge benefit of the character. If you do have trouble killing with either of these weapons, it just makes it super easy. And like I said, also the signature kit is there as well, so killing with this character will not be a problem. If you're afraid that might be a problem for Orb, it's kind of like people playing Zol. Like, Cannon itself might struggle killing with just like the simple combos and stuff. As weird as that may seem, yes, Cannon does kill a little bit later than usual, but when you crank it up to 9 force on Zol, or even 10 if you're feeling like going there, you're going to be killing just so much earlier. Right there. I mean, that's probably, I guess we're playing against Kaya, so the damage won't be higher, but if you're playing against lower defense legends too, you're probably going to be pushing maybe like 28, 29 damage for just 2-hit combos. So that's also just really good. The fact that this person's playing Kaya doesn't really make it any easier to show off just how early you can kill. But they are giving me a pretty good game, I will say that. Petra, yeah, I thought I was going to main this character, but then I decided, you know what, nah, I'm not. And I started messing with other Orb characters, but now that I've played like Dusk, I think that I'm gonna be maining Orb. So just messing around with Orb, like just testing all the characters, is just such a good idea. Like, even if you don't plan on ever playing them in tournament, I just think becoming familiar with every legend in the game that has your main weapon is just such a smart idea overall. Also, the stance that I am playing, and for those of you that wonder, Cody in 2v2s plays the defense stance, and I can't blame him. But then I, right now, am playing the dex, or no, my bad, minus dex stance, which I believe is speed. So this gives Petra 3 dex, and I will say, doesn't feel anything. These are 2 weapons where the dex, you're not going to feel like a difference at all. I will say for sure. This guy, he's definitely going to end sig, yeah. Can we get a gimp on him? He went up, which I thought he might. But let's see. Need to close this out against him. Obviously, winning is not everything for these videos, but it is nice to do so. All right, what is he going to do? He's using the signature kit to the fullest, I will say that. Okay, Gaunts now. Throw him off. Another Nair. Oh, he's dead off that. Yeah, that Sarah alone killed him. I wonder if it was lower strength, if it would have. Let's check the stats really quick, just so I get it right. 8, 3, 4... What is that, 7? Yeah, that's really insane, and that's a speed stance. I would run speed stance or defense stance. Now, it does take away a speed. However, you might find the benefit of that 5 defense. 2v2s, this is probably the main place you'd want to use this stance. But yeah, I would go either or, probably not base stance. Ah, yes, Thor. My man, this guy, I remember BCX 2019. Thor was like the go-to character. Thor Barraza, funny enough, we're playing against a Barraza. Thor Barraza was like the go-to comp for just about, I don't want to say everyone, but it was like a very popular thing. I mean, even if people weren't playing the Barraza on their team, they were definitely playing with a Thor. More than likely, I would say. I don't want to say like most of top 8 had this, but I know a solid amount did. I can't remember if Boomy won while he was on Thor. I think he ended up winning while he was on Cassidy. Cassidy was also a popular pick, but Thor as a character after BCX, it seems like he kind of got dropped off. I mean, Simple ended up getting second with him, and that was like really, really strong for Thor. That was like the highest ones placement I think a Thor ever got at the time. And then I know Acno Blaze, Rotterdam, they won with double Thor. That was a big thing as well. I mean, Thor is a character, multi-championship character, not in 1v1s, but definitely in 2v2s. I don't know if in Steel Series in EU, if a Thor ended up winning. I don't think Acno played Thor. I know Blue actually did play Thor, I believe, at least a little bit, and he did end up winning. But what I like about Thor is, unlike Petra, where you have that high strength, you don't have super high strength on Thor, but what you do have is Hammer, a weapon which a lot of people would say right now is super, super overtuned. And I kind of agree. I mean, I won't go too in depth, but what Hammer is really good at is, not only is it great at building damage, but a big thing with Hammer is that killing with it is so, so easy. Also, to me, it's like Artemis, where if you're not really feeling the Scythe, or you're not feeling the Orb in this case for Thor, you can swap over to Hammer, and it'll be a much, much easier time just hitting, because a lot of the bigger hitboxes. And I don't think it's necessary. I don't think Hammer's necessarily easier than Orb, but yeah, that is something to consider, that if you're not doing good with Orb, then you have this big weapon to swing around to get kills early with. Also, a great signature kit on it, I may add. I mean, this Sig is crazy good. I think D-Sig as well in the right situations is great. Not to mention, maybe I can hit it, but Stomp into like N-Sig is a true combo. And if you guys didn't know, actually, N-Sig on Thor, I missed it. N-Sig on Thor, there we go, actually has the most force out of the kit, I believe. So that is really nice. It's just that the angle it sends at isn't that great. Oh yeah, also this exists. Let me just demonstrate. This guy doesn't know what's happening, but yeah, that still exists even if it is not as good here. Actual application, there you go. The side sig, I think the side sig gets overlooked. You actually can get out of it pretty fast. And keep in mind, again, I'm playing 3 decks on this character. I think Orb, out of all the weapons, is one you don't need to have decks on. And then D-Sig. D-Sig's probably the most lackluster, but it still is a good Sig overall. The whole kit is fantastic. And then finally, with the stats, I am using the speed stance. Thor, I mean, yeah, you could go up to the defense, or you could play base. But I really feel like Orb and Hammer both, you're not going to tell at all. So adding that speed is super beneficial, because speed is possibly the best stat in the game right now. I know I go back and forth on that, but I think right now, speed is probably the most beneficial overall. Oh, and yes, Fate, the character that beat out Thor at Worlds, and also one of the characters that actually ended up winning the most recent tournament, and probably one of Sandstorm's most known characters at this point, which is Fate. A character that I have no idea how Fate has not gotten nerfed yet. I mean, to me, that's like probably the most mind-blowing thing. Even Petra has gotten nerfed, and Mordex has gotten nerfed, but Fate just has gotten completely ignored. I mean, I don't think the Scythe kit is super broken or anything, although I will say, like, Side Sig comes out super quick, and it does have a lot of force, and I mean, D-Sig can have some application to maybe help you get back, and like, I think D-Sig, people like to hate on that Sig a lot, but I mean, at worst, it's mediocre. It's just that the rest of the signature kit on this character is so broken, and unlike Petra, who has super strong gauntlets, like I said, probably the best gauntlets in the game, with this character, you actually have, by far, I mean, hands down, you can't argue this. Like, it's like, if you're playing Onyx, you're playing Onyx for the cannon, because best cannon in the game, best cannon Sigs. But Fate, I mean, you'll be able to see, I'm definitely going to be hitting some Sigs, just left and right. Or, I mean, I won't even get punished for a lot of them. Fate is a character, I don't even know what to say, just no end lag on anything, and it is another character where you could play 3 decks and get away with it. However, I am playing defense stance, so I will note that. I don't know. I feel like decks on Scythe, like, I notice it. at 3 dex. It's probably more of a placebo than anything, and I'm just like thinking I notice it. But Scythe is already a weapon where if you miss, you're getting punished super hard. So having at least that tad extra dex made me feel a little bit better. And yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Stats are really finicky in this game. At the end of the day, you do want to go with what you're comfortable with. But I would recommend on this character, either you play the minus dex, which I believe gives you speed. And I'll show the stats after again. But that or defense for sure is what I'd go with. All right. Gave a little taunt. I gotta do this guy in now. You really taunting me mid-video? Like... Okay, maybe I lied. This guy's actually insane on the gauntlets. Caspian, oh jeez. I don't think Caspian's horrible, but it's just a question of why. Like, why play Caspian when there's so many other characters? Like, is the signature kit that good or something? Are the stats like that good to where you'd want to play Caspian? I don't know. I don't think so. But there you go. He tried to punish me again. Like, it's just constant barrage. Like, I think this character is possibly, when it comes to signature kit, possibly best in the game, just because the orb kit is so overloaded beyond belief. I mean, D-Sig alone is just better than some entire kits in this game. I go down here. Oh my gosh, we actually caught him with it. All right, and then like I said, I personally use defense stance just because I feel like it helps, and it's mainly for that 4 dex, although like I said, it might just be more of a placebo thing. And then you do have speed stance, and the speed stance, you have 8 speed with this, 3 dex, 4 defense, and 7 strength. I mean, these stats are ridiculous to say the least. If you're not willing to do that, then like I said, go to defense. But again, don't run base. I think it's just a bit of a waste to run base. Yes, and finally, Dusk, the character that out of all the insane orb characters that I've talked about today, which I think literally every orb character, aside from this character, is just out of this world. This is the one I decide to end up probably maining or at least playing. Dusk, I mean, he's probably undervalued to some extent. I haven't completely figured that out myself. But Dusk is a character where, I don't know, the dex actually is enough to where it matters. You can do like Dare into Sidelight and have it be true. You can also do Sare into Endlight on Spear, which is pretty big. And I will say, these 2 SIGs, this one and N-Sig, honestly feel like there are no recovery frames, which is actually a pretty big benefit, because people who aren't familiar with this character, which most people just aren't familiar with Dusk, they're going to try and punish you for that, and then they're going to end up getting hit. However, I will say D-Sig, compared to the rest of the orb kit, kind of feels like lackluster. And then let me get Spear, because we almost actually wrapped this guy up real quick. I guess that's what happens, given I'm kind of playing this character. It doesn't matter too much. I guess if we have orb, we have orb. But yeah, I mean, I play strength stance on Dusk. I think that or defense stance is the way to go. Again, it's the same thing with all these orb characters. Oh my gosh. Just don't play base stance, because there's going to be a stance that's better. You're going to either want to take away dex or you might want to add a defense. It's pretty much the cycle of it for every single orb character. So here's the stance I use. I use the strength stance. 7 strength, which is great on orb and spear, helps you get kills earlier. Also, the SIGs themselves do get kills pretty early. And then also the defense stance, it's going to drop you down more. However, you're going to have more balanced stats with 5-7, 5-5, and I still think that's pretty solid as well. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video, and leave in the comments below what weapon you might want to see next. I'm going to keep this series going probably until I complete all the weapons, or at least all the weapons that I play, which is a lot, so don't worry about that. But yeah, let me know which one you want to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.